What's up, you dirty degenerates? You are now listening to 313 Hockey. I am your host, Jake Rivard, and joining us today are our other hosts, Maddie and Tom. What's going on, guys?
Nothing much.
It's been kind of quiet in the Wings world, but we've got a lot of other Detroit sports-related news. But before that, I'd like to announce that we have a very special guest joining us today. Reporter of both the Red Wings and the Tigers, Daniella Bruce, will be joining us for a little guest interview. Tom, if you want to add a little, like stock, yay, or like applause, that would really help.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use Shorzy's yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
So, first things first, certain Kendall Roy type figure went and did a little press conference today. The owner of the Red Wings and the Tigers, Chris Ilitch, had some news. Maddie, if you want to take it away as our Tigers stan.
I don't even know if I want that title, Jake. But yeah, so after months, some years of begging and pleading, hooting and hollering, finally Alavila was fired. So he was the general manager of the Tigers. I myself owned a Fire Alavila shirt. That's how passionate I was about the cause. So yeah, our very own Detroit Kendall Roy, which I think is so. I actually was reading about Chris Ilitch this morning, and it was like weird how many secession parallels there were. Like he used to co-own it with his sister, and then she dropped off. I was like, oh shit, Kendall Roy confirmed.
The dad owned it too, and he had it with like full control.
And the dad built it up. Anyway, if you guys have never seen Secession, it's really good. That's what
banger of a show, Succession.
But if you haven't seen it and you care, the press conference is so cringe. It's just, he's like, yeah, like, I didn't do any of the mistakes like trading away Verlander. That wasn't me. That was our GM. I am not responsible. And then he couldn't even remember like when he extended Alavila. It was so embarrassing. This dude's a billionaire. Imagine just like having huge sports franchise, you own them, and you don't even it's a corporation still, you have to keep track of it. Like I was appalled watching that, and it just proves to me that he doesn't really give a shit. But hopefully he keeps his fingers out of the Red Wings, and I'm really excited to see who we're gonna hire for the GM of the Tigers.
I just have one question. I don't really watch the Tigers that much, and I kind of wish I did if they weren't like so miserable.
No. Stay in your little sheltered bubble.
How can I make Alavila getting fired about me?
Because everything has to be about you, Jake.
Yes. Finally, someone gets it.
I'm so fucking excited that Alavila is gone. Like,
yeah, same.
It's ridiculous to me that having watched just some clips of the interview in that press conference, it's ridiculous to me that Chris Ilitch, like you said, as a billionaire owner, can't recall some of these trades and things like that. It's like
those are his assets. Like, bro,
these are your assets. This is your team. This is the team that you took over for your dad after he died. This was the thing that Mike Ilitch wanted to do before he died, was win a World Series. And you as his son can't recall some of those trades that happened toward the end of his tenure as the owner into your early days as an owner. Not to mention the fact that you as the Tigers had one of the highest payrolls in baseball.
Yep.
And you can't recall a fucking trade. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't know. I've never owned a team, but I guess not every trade, but specifically if you're going into a press conference after firing Alavila, I feel like knowing what year he was extended is like the least you can do.
I may not own a team, but I have owned a fantasy football team, and I remember all the transactions that I made.
I know all my fantasy transactions, and the boys will not let me forget about it. If you're listening,
oh my god, wait, please.
They will not let me fucking forget about it.
Dude, Tom, tell them the truth.
No.
What?
No, I'm not. No.
You can't say that and not tell me.
It's bad. No, Maddie, it's bad.
Okay, no.
If you don't tell me, I'm leaving the podcast.
I traded DeAndre Swift. This is a dynasty week.
Go on.
This is a dynasty week.
Okay.
I traded DeAndre Swift. I had no tight ends.
For who or for what? What'd you do, bud?
For Higbee and Alex Collins.
Oh, no, you did not.
Give me credit. I have J.K. Dobbins and Jonathan Taylor on my team as well.
Can you put this in NHL terms for our non-football enjoyers?
Oh, that would be fun to try to find NHL
I
equivalents.
have
You
no
can't.
clue. There's no equivalent to
You
that.
traded you
It's such a fucked up trade.
Just know that Tom is an idiot.
I'm never living that trade down. I understand how terrible it was. Please just
you traded
with the dead horse lie.
you traded Thomas Shabbat for like
That's
Philip
a
Hronik
medic name.
and
That's
Danny
cool name.
DeKeyser.
No.
Thomas Shabbat, who's now the #1 defenseman for the Ottawa Senators. I would put
while also having Hedman and prime Eric Carlson on my team. So,
I hear mental gymnastics. Yes. Tom, don't hurt yourself with that reach.
Tom, you got to stretch before you reach like that, bud.
I'm gonna pull my back out.
Can I be a hater for a second on something
Jake, you can
football related?
Be a hater.
Yeah.
God, I love.
There's a reason why I like hockey more than football.
I love having you both on this podcast because all you do is just enable the most toxic behaviors I have.
Go.
I'm gonna make fun. I'm gonna go in on Aaron Rodgers for a minute.
Oh, thank God! You never have to ask permission to go in on Aaron Rodgers.
For non-football listeners, is kind of like he's treated how like Sidney Crosby was treated by the NHL media, where they just gave him a pass for all of his like weird behaviors and attitudes, and they worship the ground he walked on. And admittedly, Aaron Rodgers is a good player, but I noticed an interesting double standard this last week.
Interesting.
So he was very public. He took ayahuasca and went on a little spiritual journey and a trip.
Maybe tell people what that is if you don't know what if people don't know what that is.
Ayahuasca is a cactus. Tom, am I correct when I'm saying this? I'm not a known psychedelic expert, but
neither
is Tom. I am also not.
He lives in the UP. I don't know what there is there.
Ayahuasca.
It's like a cactus that causes you to go on like a super trip.
It's a psychedelic. That's right.
I think the main chemical for it is DMT.
Oh yeah, DMT
is a super way out there like psychedelic.
Yes,
it's very strong for
according to Wikipedia. Yes, it is prepared using N-dimethyltryptamine, also known as DMT. Anyway, the moral of the story is he goes on this super trip and comes back, and the NFL, instead of even the NFL media, especially, instead of like giving him shit for this, like they would Martavis Bryant when I think he like smoked weed and he got in like a lot of trouble for it. They just kind of let it, slide. The NFL's like, oh, this doesn't violate our substance abuse policy.
Yeah.
What I want to know is like if Lamar Jackson took acid and talked about it, I guarantee you I'd be willing to put my entire salary, all like $8 on the table.
Yep.
Because some NFL pundit would say something like, well, these players are supposed to be role models. Is taking drugs like this, illegal substances, is that something that a role model should be doing?
Right.
See, here's the interesting part about it, because it's psychedelics, and psychedelics don't typically show up on drug tests.
Oh, interesting.
Why
do you know that, Tom?
Yeah, Tom, you're very familiar with this.
I watch a lot of documentaries.
Bet.
Take a lot of documentaries.
Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia.
Yeah, they did.
Hamilton was great on Broadway.
Right? It was a great Broadway.
That was good.
That was great.
Jake and I had the same joke at the same time.
I don't like Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'll say it. That guy's kind of a weenie.
All right. Back to The point being,
it's just interesting because I can't remember the Pittsburgh Pirates player.
That guy rocks. Doc Ellis Jr.
Doc Ellis obviously had his acid game. I don't know if he got in any trouble with the MLB for that.
That was like in the 70s, and I mean everybody was on acid then. Like, it didn't really matter then.
So like I don't know if there's necessarily that double standard, because like it would be hard for the NFL to have a drug test that would test for DMT.
Well, I'm not saying like
I'm
not saying it's like about the like necessarily the testing, but I guarantee you there would be like much larger criticism if like Kyler Murray, or I use Lamar Jackson because like he plays for Baltimore and he does not look like Aaron Rodgers does.
Like I do agree with you in the sense like if Rodgers had came out and said like I smoke weed every single day after a game and go through the season with no problem. I do agree with you. There's obviously a double standard somewhere in the NFL for
But
that.
I think there was recently an NFL player who got some sort of infraction for weed, which is just
Yeah,
so silly.
Martavis
It
Bryant
happens
in
all the time.
2016 was suspended for an entire year for violating the substance policy.
Yeah, and then Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
is like, I did a more, I don't even know,
A controversial drug.
a more, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I
a
would
more
say more
controversial
controversial
drug,
drug.
and like nobody bats an eye. But Jake, as you mentioned, they do look
Now,
different
yeah,
indeed.
I wonder if whether they look different has anything to do with it, or whether one is a good old boy for the NFL.
Yeah, I'm sure it
Mm.
does.
More like a dude, good old boy was right there. Good old.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little more hockey stuff since we just
Thank
went
you.
on our total tangent. But anyway, Jake Wallman signed a deal. I
Mhm.
know that's Wings news. He was going to go through arbitration, and I know that he asked for like 1.75 mil or something like that, and the Wings were like, no, 0.85 mil, and they settled on 1.05 on a one-way deal.
I think
So yeah,
that's a good
we got
settlement.
Adri's brother. That's pretty good. I think he'll
Wait,
be.
that's Adrian's brother?
No, they look alike. They literally look just the same.
Yeah,
So
unfortunately for me.
so I think it'll be good. World Juniors are going on right now. I'm not really. I'm
I
gonna be
haven't
honest.
really been tuned in.
Yeah, I tried
I
to
haven't
watch
been
it.
paying too much attention,
I
but
saw a picture of the tournament, and there were like maybe 15 people in the stands.
oh,
I mean,
really?
I watched the game. Yes, I watched Canada Latvia a little bit yesterday when I
Did
was in
they?
They're
Canada.
still going through qualifying though. It just started.
Well, that
Doesn't
and
matter.
also all the controversy with Team Canada right now, and the fact that
Oh
they were
yeah.
doing all of these games on a weekday in the like at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like I guess it makes sense why there wouldn't be people there, but at the same time, I expected a bunch of other people there. You know?
Yeah. I did see Red Savage, one of our prospects, got a okay goal. I mean, he crashed into the net and then bounced
Yeah,
off his
Yeah.
I
stick,
like
but
him.
yeah, I like him too.
My buddy Gabe, who does like a lot of he follows the USHL and he's like a good prospect analyst, said that Red Savage is going to be a steal if he pans out. Like
Yeah.
he's probably going to be like a depth guy, like maybe like a diet Tyler Bertuzzi type, where he's that energy dude who comes in and like is a junkyard dog. So if that pans out, that'll be pretty good. I watched a couple Edvinson shifts though, and Simon Edvinson,
Yeah.
good.
Good, confirmed.
I'm gonna
word.
get my
Good.
opinion in right now. He is good, and he will be good. That guy, like the way he uses his body to shut down the competition.
His sense of space on the ice, the way he moves around his opponents, moves with the puck, gets it to his teammates. It's insane.
Let's get our takes in right now. Do you see him making the NHL this year? And when, if so?
Ooh, I think the win is a better question.
I'm gonna preface this with it's not a hot take, but what I foresee happening with Edvinson is similar to what we saw with Sider last season. Hopefully, he dazzles everyone at training camp and fights his way to make that roster spot before the beginning of the season. But it's pretty up in the air. I was talking to Jake and Tom earlier, and I said that he's gonna have to prove himself at training camp, and I got flamed by saying this is not a hot take. And then once we finished the conversation, it was, oh yeah, we agree with you, Maddie, but they just wanted to call me out for my take.
Because
so.
I asked for a hot take, and she came in with like she came in with hot dog water.
Lukewarm.
If you say hot dog water, if you say hot dog water enough times, the Red Wings will manifest getting Phil Kessel.
Oh, hot dog water,
seriously?
hot dog water. All right, Tom. What about you, Simon? What do you see with him?
I'm gonna say he's up in December after someone gets injured.
That's also not a hot take.
I mean that could. I mean, what if he plays his heart out and then they go full like Jeff Bledsoe and he goes.
If he plays his heart out, I think he still makes it in December.
Interesting.
I think
okay,
December
that is a little bit of a medium take.
I don't mind that. I
like December
because they're gonna have him.
Nice little Christmas gift.
Get adjusted to North American ice or whatever.
I like December for him to come up, no matter what.
As for me, I think that not only is he going to make it opening night, he's going to make everybody that put him like 17th on their prospect list or wherever, however low they put him, look like complete fools again. This is going to be, hopefully, in a perfect world, it's similar to how people just got repeatedly owned over Moritz Seider. if it
No
happens.
comments.
That would be really cool. That would be pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So joining us today is an iconic part of Detroit sports history, the first woman to ever be recorded on a Detroit Red Wings radio broadcast, the one, the only Daniella Bruce. Daniella, how are you today?
I'm great. So excited to be joining you guys this evening.
Oh, we're excited too. Yeah, it feels like the off season's been just so truncated. Like everything's been going left and right, left and right. Have you gotten any time to breathe?
No, tell me. I was actually just joking around on my Twitter that I am starting a 10-day vacation as of tomorrow and all of next week. So prepare for something big to happen.
Yep, there's going to be some crazy trade. So we've got a few questions lined up for you. I figure we'll all go one at a time, but I may as well get us started right off the bat with something fun. So you've got a pretty iconic career. You've been all over the place. You started your broadcasting with Big Ten Network while you were with MSU, and you've been with the Wings and Tigers since 2017. What do you think has been the single best part of your career so far?
Ooh, single best part of my career. Obviously, making my radio debut has to be up there at number one. I feel like that's like the easy answer, right? But I think actually one of the biggest things that I've ever learned in my career is that, and it sounds very cliche, it actually is very cliche, is that what's meant to be will be. And I've learned that throughout my career many, many times. When I got hired by the Red Wings, they were kind of like, we like you. We don't know exactly what you're going to be doing, but we want you to come in and host this pregame and intermission show that we're going to start at the arena. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And if you can see how my career has grown from there, how my job with the Red Wings has expanded. And as I mentioned, it led to me being on a Red Wings radio broadcast as the color analyst. So I would say just getting in the door with the Red Wings is up there too, but definitely it was a career highlight. I think it will always be a career highlight that I got to call a couple of games with Ken Cal.
I would probably say getting on 3-1-3 hockey is pretty high. Too.
There too. How could I forget?
Either of you guys want to go?
I'll go.
How do you follow that up?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm just sitting here in awestruck.
I mean, I don't know, Danielle, if you've ever listened to the podcast, but we try to be silly, and me specific, Jake too, but we just say really silly things and try to be out of pocket.
We basically like hearing all the other podcasts, like we love the Winged Wheel guys, Grindline, you name it, but we're like, we want to do something a little like more laid back, a little sillier. So that's what we're here for. So get ready for more of that.
I love it. That's great.
That being said, I did prepare a pretty serious question, so we'll come back to silly.
Whoa.
Okay, no, don't get scared. Don't get scared.
Good transition.
But one question I had, and it was the first question I had when I heard that you were going to come onto the podcast, and the community as well had a lot of questions around how have you felt as a woman in this space and where you're at in your career now, and then I'll come with a follow-up question after.
Well, it's been, for me, I've been extremely blessed, extremely lucky to work with phenomenal people that have never let the fact that I'm a woman hold me back. Like I said, I've talked from the very beginning of joining the Red Wings, not knowing exactly what my position was going to be and growing it into what it is now. And like I said, my leaders, my bosses at the Red Wings, I was never held back. And that is something that I want to make very clear, because for me, I have had, like I said, very blessed, very lucky to have had a pretty easy experience. But I do know, listen, I see the tweets and the comments that can be negative, right? And there's always going to be those people. And I mean that for anybody. It's not just women,
right?
Too. There's always going to be the people that say, oh, she's a woman, she doesn't know anything,
right?
Or she's the token, or she's this, she's that, like whatever. You've got to learn to not listen to those people, because I'm going to prove you wrong. That's always been my mindset. Like, go ahead and think what you want. I'm the one that's here doing it while you're tweeting from your couch or wherever it might be.
Right on. I love that.
My mindset has always been, I'm a badass. I'm going to do it. Who cares what the people are saying? If you put in the work, you're going to do exactly what you want to do, no matter what the color of your skin is, no matter what gender you are. All of that does not matter as long as you have the work ethic. And I think that's been proven, and I'm a good example for it.
We take a lot of cues from that, actually, because sometimes we'll get like hate replies where they're like, oh, well, you have a gay person on your broadcast, or oh, you have a woman on your podcast, and we're like, yeah, And we know more than you.
Yeah, and you're the ones doing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So if you have hate for that, don't listen. That's the other. If you don't like it and you don't like my work, you don't have to listen. No one's going to make you listen, right? So, like I said, there's always going to be haters, no matter who you are, no matter what you do. You just have to learn that most of the stuff you're doing is positive, or you wouldn't be in the position that you're in, right? And that's something that I've always been pretty proud of.
Right on. I love that. And I guess follow-up question to that is for young women or young people in general who want to get into sports broadcasting, is there any advice that you would give them or pointers for them as they would start their career?
Yeah, I mean, my number one advice is work ethic, work hard. It takes a lot of work to get to the top in this industry. And there isn't one person I know that gets to where they want to be without working really, really hard and being versatile. That's the other thing I always say, working hard and making sure you're skilled at different things. Like I do a lot of editing. Every Word on Woodward episode that you guys watch is edited by me. I know how to shoot. I know how to operate a camera, but I do not do that as often just because I am in front of the camera most of the time. So, but when they need me to jump in and run a camera, I can do that. And like I said, editing is huge for me. That was part of the reason I was brought on full time with the Wings, is that I can do all of that. There's so many features that you guys see that you probably wouldn't even know that I edit or wouldn't think that I edit. So having that kind of stuff in your back pocket is huge. Being versatile, being able to be thrown into every position. And I also produce a little bit, like the Forecheck and Game Day Live. I produce those shows. Obviously, again, I'm not the one sitting in the producer chair during the show since I am hosting, but I script it. I make sure everything's ready to go. I cut the highlights. I cut the sound bites, all of that. And being able to do all of that will get you so much further in the industry, as opposed to just being an editor or just being talent or anything like that.
Thank you for letting us know about that. I wanted to shout whoever out for that. So this is perfect.
I'm even more impressed now. So what you're saying in a nutshell is get you a girl who can do it all.
Yeah, you got to do it all. You got to do it all.
Swiss Army woman.
All right,
Tom, you want to go up?
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. My dad just tried calling me.
Jesus.
You're on the podcast.
Hey, Dad, you're live on the podcast.
No, he's probably calling because I'm supposed to be leaving to go down to Oscoda right after we finish recording, but he's probably checking to see when I'm leaving.
Dad can't talk. Talking to Daniella.
There's more important things, Dad. So I was wondering, what are you looking forward to the most with this season?
I think just the team taking steps forward, because I truly believe that they're going to, and whether that's baby steps, I'm not saying they're going to be a playoff team. You just don't know, but just they made some steps last year. You saw some individuals make steps, like Michael Rasmussen being one of those guys, and you hope that he can take another step forward. Phil Hronik, Mo Sider, Lucas Raymond, and all of the new additions like Andrew Kopp, Ben Sherratt, David Perron, Oli Mata. We're talking about players that are difference makers, that have experience. So you imagine that the Red Wings are going to be more competitive. And hey, who doesn't like to watch competitive hockey, right? I think we're all fans of that, no matter what happens at the end of the season. We know the Red Wings are in a tough division. We know that they have to battle in a tough conference in the Eastern Conference. So however that plays out at the end of the season, you just want to see growth. And I think that's something we're definitely going to see this year.
Oh, I love watching bad hockey. That's why I'm announcing my new fandom to the Arizona Coyotes.
No.
Are you allowed to laugh at that, Daniella?
I did, but
yeah, I was gonna say, how much of this am I gonna have to edit?
Hey, don't count them out. We were there a couple of years ago, okay?
Yeah.
Hot take.
Don't laugh at anyone.
Hot take.
We do like Arizona sometimes. Actually, Jake.
Go on.
So, Jake, I actually kind of have a follow-up question. My second one was
go for it.
Kind of like that. Of the new guys in Detroit this year, who do you think makes the greatest impact on the team?
Well, other than who? Were you going to say other than
I was just going to say whether that be in the locker room specifically or on the ice.
Well, I think Billy Husso is definitely going to be somebody who makes an impact on the team. The goaltenders are very, very important positions, and the tandem of him and Ned is going to be key this season. But when you look at, of the five players I guess a goalie's on the ice, but you know what I mean, in front of the goaltender. I would say that I think all eyes are on Andrew Kopp. What exactly can he do? What can he bring to this lineup? Because I think all Red Wings fans have slotted him in at that second line center position, right? You've got Dylan Larkin leading the top line, and then you've got Andrew Kopp on the second. And if I were to put a team out on the ice right now, it would be Andrew Kopp alongside David Perron and Jacob Verona. So that sounds like a fabulous line, right? And if Andrew Kopp can do a good job and do the job that he's supposed to do, here comes my dog. She loves getting on podcasts.
Love a guest host.
Loves getting on podcasts. But yeah, I think hold on, it's Andrew Kopp. I'm gonna put her
It's
away.
All right.
It's totally cool.
And of course she wakes up and she's like, oh, you're paying attention to someone other than me. That is not okay.
My cat has been trying to break down my door for the past 5 minutes, so totally understand.
Okay, just to finish that thought, I think it's Andrew Kopp. I think he just needs to fill that second line center role that everybody's seeing. And he's a versatile player too. We talked about versatility with me. He's a very versatile player. He can play any of the forward positions, but I think we need him to have a big impact on this team. And if a few other guys do as well, which I think they're going to, the Wings are going to be in a good spot.
Daniela, do you think that Ville Husso, just by nature of that signing, is going to take over as the main starting goaltender? You think it's going to be pretty split between him and Ned?
Well, we actually talked to Alex Nedeljkovic in our latest Word on Woodward, which was just posted today. So I forgive you guys if you didn't watch it.
Thank you.
But
thank you.
Just talking to him about it, I think you go in with the mindset as a goaltender that it is very hard to play even 60 games a season, right? There are very few goaltenders that play 60 games a season. So you go in with that mindset that both of you want to be strong goaltenders, because if one of the goaltenders is in a slump, then the other one can kind of pick up that slack. But I would think, unless it's blatantly obvious at training camp that one is way better than the other, that they're going to go with splitting the time until maybe one does kind of step ahead. And I don't know if that's going to be Ville Husso or that's going to be Alex Nedeljkovic, because obviously Alex Nedeljkovic, we saw some great spurts from him last season. And there were some tough spurts of team defense too. He was facing so many shots every single night and having to stand on his head a few times. And I'm just talking about team defense improving. Hopefully that doesn't happen as much this year and he gets a little bit of the pressure taken off of him, and we'll see if he can fall into that groove. So like I said, unless one is absolutely outshining the other one at training camp, I think you're going to see a nice duo to at least start the season.
So speaking of the Wood on Woodward, you've interviewed a lot of players and a lot of people in the front office. Who has been, first off, your easiest interview and the funniest person you've interviewed?
Easiest and funniest. Ooh, can I give you guys a couple Tigers players too? Because I love our Red Wings. They are great. And Alex Nedeljkovic is phenomenal. When you guys watch that, you're going to see he's absolutely phenomenal. Very easy to talk to. All of them really are. But Tyler Alexander was a phenomenal player to talk to. Oh my God, was he funny? We could not stop laughing. We had Andrew Chafin on a couple.
Oh yeah, he's great.
He was a hoot. He was an absolute riot. So all the Tigers pitchers, really. We had Will Vest on, who was hilarious. They're all really good. Austin Meadows in the beginning of the season was great. All of the Tigers have great personalities over there, but the Red Wings do too. Tigers just are they come out of their shells a lot for us. I'm like, wow. It's really cool.
I would love to see that in like the hockey world. You know, you're starting to see it now, but like, letting a couple of people loose.
Yeah, and it happens too with getting to know the people that are interviewing you, right? So I feel like, you know, the next time I interview, like Ned, he was very, very relaxed now that he knows us a little bit more and he's able to talk to us. And the last time we interviewed Dylan Larkin, which was at the beginning of last season, he was excellent. Jeff Blashill was excellent when we interviewed him. So hopefully we'll get to have Coach Lalone on now too. But we're blessed with some great people. They're great interviewees and they're always willing to answer our questions, whether they be silly or serious. So it's a lot of fun.
Alex, Ned, if you're listening to this, and I sure hope you are, we would love to have you on. I want to talk fantasy stuff with you. I know you're a big Lord of the Rings guy. I am too. Let's get it.
There you go. Tag him.
Yeah.
During your career, who has been your biggest inspiration and one of your mentors during this time?
So my mentors, I have a few actually, and they're kind of, two of them that really helped me a lot. And I would say Shannon Hogan is number one. And I don't know if you remember Shannon. She was at Fox Sports Detroit for years, and now she covers the Islanders for MSG Network. Her and I are super close. I bounce things off her all of the time, like everything. I talk to her probably twice a week. She's probably sick of me, but Yeah, she's fantastic and very experienced in the career and on all things, right? Whether it be on camera or whether it's like behind the scenes stuff or the business operation side of things. She helps me with everything and every question that I might have as a young reporter trying to break into the industry. And then another person that I would always consider a mentor is Larry Lage, and he's actually a writer for AP. So he covers the Red Wings, he covers Michigan football, Michigan State basketball. He covers a lot of Detroit sports. He's filled in. He covers the Lions, I believe, too. But anyway, he spoke at one of my classes when I was a sophomore at Michigan State. And while he was giving his speech, he said, if you don't put in the order, you won't get served. And that, like, I don't know why that stuck with me so much, but it did. And after that class, I walked right up to him and I said, hey, I want to job shadow you. Like, can you set that up? And he was like, sure. Yeah. Here's my email. Here's my phone number. We'll figure it out. And it just so happens that my very first ever job shadow in the industry was a Red Wings game at Joe Louis Arena. So very interesting that all came back full circle. But yeah, I see him all the time, bounce things off him too. And just everybody in the industry is very, very cool, which is something that I don't know if people know that, but we all connect, right? And we're always talking to each other, bouncing things off of each other. I've never met someone who isn't helpful if you have questions or doesn't want to help out, because I think everyone who has made it a little further than, let's say, I have right now knows what spot I'm in. And the same goes for me, for people who are trying to get where I am. It's like, I know what that feels like. So you always want to be helpful to the people that are up and coming.
Yeah. With that, like, what kind of qualities did you look for when you were seeking those people out?
Honestly, I was recommended to talk to Shannon by a producer at one of our local networks here in Detroit. And I just started communicating with her. And it's somebody, you want to connect with them on a personal level too, right? Because like I said, you talk about work, that's the most important thing. But if you want to be able to talk about personal things with this person too, because those types of things are going to come up when you're making career decisions. So having somebody that you feel that comfortable with is super important. And Shannon and I hit it off almost immediately. So she's great. And I am very, very grateful to have her helping me through all of this.
So what inspired you to become a reporter in the first place? We'd love to hear your path and how you got started.
All right. In all honesty, I was 13 and I was like, I don't like anything but sports. I don't like anything else. Like, I can't see myself doing something else every single day except sports. And I told myself then that I was going to try the reporter thing. If that didn't work out, we'd figure out what else I could do in the sports world. But that's what I wanted to do. So I started taking my broadcasting classes in 8th grade. And from there, I just decided I loved it.
Are you still eligible for the NHL draft?
I think I might be technically, but I would not recommend it.
Yeah. Could you tell us a cool or funny story about a time that you were covering the Wings?
A cool or funny story about the time I was covering the Wings. What is a good one? I've got one. The coolest story that ever. Okay.
Oh.
So it was opening night of 2018. We played 2018 or 2019. One of the two. We played Dallas. I think it was 2019 because Steve Yzerman was here. So yes, it was 2019. We played Dallas. And it was the night Anthony Mantha scored 4 goals. The building was absolutely electric. It was such a fun opening night. And after the game, I was riding down from one of the gondolas up at the press box level. And I got in the elevator and the front office staff walked into the elevator with me. So Steve Yzerman, Chris Draper, some other guys got into the elevator. I think at the time, it was Chris Draper. He was there too. And we're riding down the elevator. My manager is with me. And every employee gets a little Red Wings pin on opening night. And I didn't get mine because I was wearing a dress that couldn't hold a pin. So I didn't grab one. And so I said to my manager, I was like, hey, make sure you save me a pin when we get back to our desks. Steve Yzerman takes his pin off of his jacket and gives it to me and says, I have 1 million of these. And I had to try very hard not to fangirl over that moment, but it was super cool.
My God.
Like that, Steve Yzerman's a good guy, right? Like he was like, a lot of these. Here you go.
You got the Yzer pin?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's in a very safe spot, and I only pull it out on very special occasions. But yes, I have that. So it was a very cool moment as a broadcaster and as a fan, right? Growing up watching Steve Yzerman play and then him coming back. Like, yeah, it was a very cool moment for me.
Yeah. I was going to ask, because I think I can say for all of us, we all grew up watching Steve Yzerman. What is Stevie like?
Well, that's a perfect example for you. He's a great guy. And our whole front office, they're all really cool. And Yzerman, of course, has that that serious edge to him when he's addressing the media or talking like that. But I just got to do that big sit down interview with him, and it was excellent. It was so much fun to talk to him. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was nervous. I mean, there's very few things that I get nervous for that involve a camera anymore. And that was definitely one of them. And as soon as we got started, it was like a conversation, and he was great. And we did.
That's so cool, because I imagine that like he's just a presence when he walks into a room. Like,
and he is. I mean, he is, and he kind of knows that too. He is one, and he has so many reasons to be one, right? He's been successful at everything that he's ever done in his career, one of the best to do it, and he definitely is a presence. But he's, once you get to know him and once you have those conversations with him, it's like it's much easier, and you realize, he's just a super great guy.
That's really cool.
I have one from our fans. What is the best story a Wings fan has shared from you about how you impacted their fan experience by being a female hockey reporter?
You know, honestly, I get some great stories all the time, and a lot of them come from not only Red Wings fans, but people that aspire to do what I do, just reaching out and saying, it's so fun to see that you're doing this. It gives me hope that I can do it one day. And that's the biggest thing for me. Not only do I want to bring people stories and give them the best Red Wings content that they can consume, I also want to let them know that, it is possible. Like, keep working hard. And I always go back to that. You work hard, you make those connections. Networking is another huge thing, but it comes from the people. And it's not only women, it's guys too. Like, I have men reaching out to me, young men reaching out to me. How'd you get there? How'd you do this? Or what advice do you have for me? I love your work. And that kind of stuff means so much to me. Like, people just enjoying what I'm doing, because that's the whole point of it, right? I want you guys, I want fans, I want everyone to enjoy what I'm doing.
I got another one for you. This one's a really fun one. I have two more, and then I'm all good on questions. But one of those questions is, do you have any game day rituals, like before you get started on a night? Like, do you have anything that you do regularly, or like an opening night thing?
Well, I have a game day routine that is always the same. I wouldn't say I have any rituals, but maybe I should start one and we should see how it goes.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out and I'll report back.
If they go on a winning streak, I'll know it was you.
Honestly, game days are so busy for me with going to morning skate in the morning. So I'm there at 9:30 getting ready for morning skate. Then I do that. And then I prepare everything for the forecheck with Ken Cal. And as I mentioned, I'm scripting, I'm editing, cutting sound bites, doing all of that. I go downstairs and work with our guys in the control room. So our replay operators who run all the highlights, I help them cut highlight packages. I work with our graphics team to help build the graphics that are going to be shown during the forecheck and game day live. By the time I'm done with that, it's almost time for the show which is 4:00. So I do that. And then I get a dinner break. And then it's game time. So it goes by so quick. It's a very long day, but also goes by very, very fast. So routine, but no rituals yet. But I'm going to think of one. I'll think of one.
Oh,
that's a grind. That day, man, you must go home tired.
Yeah, it's a long day. When I'm driving home, sometimes it's probably not safe. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to fall asleep.
Do you like have any music that you use to keep you awake, or like anything you listen to that like hypes you up? Or
honestly, most of the time I'm just tuning into 97.1 on the radio and I'm like, oh, what are they saying about the post game? What's going on? Like, on my way home from games, I want it to be quiet. It's weird. It's like your mind is still going a million miles an hour and there's like no way to kind of wind down. And I usually just listen to talk radio at that point, or a podcast. I'll throw a podcast on once in a while.
How important is it for that work-life balance? Because a lot of hours.
Yeah.
How hard is it to do that work-life balance?
Sometimes it's really hard. There are days or weeks where you're not feeling like you can do it anymore, but it just comes down to having that work ethic again and loving what you do, right? Like, there are days where we have 4 home games in a week and I go on the road and I'm kind of like, man, I'm burnt out, but I also love it at the same time. So getting to the point where you absolutely love what you do is super helpful. And again, this goes back to my leadership and management with the Red Wings. They're great. And when we can take a day off, especially during the season, they're like, hey, take that day off. Or if there's a weekend that we can get free, they're like, take an extra day around that weekend or something like that. So it ends up working out pretty great. And my family and my boyfriend, they're super big hockey fans. So that also helps. They come down to the arena more often than not. So I see everybody a lot and I'm still able to make time for that. But again, it's just come down it comes down to loving what you do. And then you're really not working. Like, yes, you might get tired sometimes, but I have a pretty cool job. Let's be real here.
Seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just received a message that we need Charlie content. So I've heard Charlie's a beloved figure. No pressure, obviously, but
well, you'll get she right now. She's not in. I should have just let her come up on my lap because that's what she is. And she's 70 pounds, so it's not exactly a light dog. But I'll get you guys a lot of Charlie content.
Let's go.
She'll be all over Twitter, and I'll make sure I tag you guys.
Okay, so closing question: you are walking up to the plate in a game of baseball. What is your walk-up song?
All right. I've thought about this a lot, actually. It's very weird that
excellent.
So much. Okay, fun fact about me, huge Justin Bieber fan. Like from day one. Like I've followed Justin Bieber since before he was Justin Bieber. I followed his freaking old YouTube account, like very old. And I found him because I was a big Neo fan in middle school.
Let's go.
So sick.
Yes.
I typed that into YouTube one day because that was my favorite song at the time. And this little kid popped up that was like covering the song, and he was singing it, playing the guitar and singing it. And I was like, oh, who is this? And I followed the YouTube account, and it turns out he is now Justin Bieber. So my walk-up song would have to be a Justin Bieber song. And I go back and forth. I don't know exactly which one it would be, but I always want to go with the original One Time. Like, I just feel like that is the way you have to go if you're going to go Justin Bieber. But I have a lot of favorite. It would be something Justin Bieber I'd probably have on rotation.
Daniella Bruce is a believer. Now I've seen everything.
Make that the episode title.
I actually love his old music. I'm like a big old Justin. Like his new music's good. Don't get me wrong. I still download every album. I still love everything. I still listen to it all. But the old school JB, it has my heart.
That I think is all the questions that I have. Maddie, did you have a question you were going to ask? Okay, maybe not.
I already asked my question.
Do you have any?
Done that to Maddie a couple times.
Do you have any questions for us? Because we will answer anything.
I didn't prepare any questions.
No. We should have put you on the Google Doc.
Flip side, what's your favorite type of content to watch that maybe anyone on the Red Wings team bring you? What do you like to see? What do you like to see from that aspect? Think as a fan.
I really like the interviews. I don't know. I like to get to know the players because we see them on the ice and we see them play, but I want to know like the people. I want to know that Alex Ned is a Lord of the Rings nerd. I want to know like I see people share it on Twitter all the time, but that's something that I think the people love. Like the Mojo show was.
Oh yeah. Big fan.
I love just seeing highlights from like the morning skates and that kind of stuff.
So things that you don't really get to see all the time, right? Because you don't
for sure
morning skate. Okay.
Can we get like a? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with Jake. Just like hearing more about the personal lives or the people who are kind of in the uniform, and I liked during the prospect camp there was that little bit asking them, do you know who this is, or do you know like what boy band this is? I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, but it made me feel ancient, so I don't know if that's
a byproduct. But as a fan, it's very entertaining. But it's same.
I think it would be really cool to do like a day in the life as Daniella Bruce, or like a day in the life as Ken Cal, follow somebody through the whole day, because I guarantee you they run into some goofy stuff or things you never think about. And I mean, you could get like Eyes from Inner Draper or whoever, and I'm sure those would get, mad views, but like, I don't know.
I want to do a day in the life of Chris Draper, actually.
Yeah.
Cool. We talked about great guests and great, Chris Draper is one that I forgot. That he is excellent. He is such a great guy. Day in the life of Chris Draper, though, I'm going to pitch that to him.
Holy cow. You guys should do like a Parent Trap. They're not Parent Trap, Freaky Friday thing where you switch positions.
Leave it in my hands as the director of amateur scouting for a little while. I don't know.
He sits down. He's like, "Hi, I'm Daniella Bruce."
He got the cute heels on, that red dress from the draft.
He can borrow it if he wants to.
Chris, if you're interested in this idea, well, we're willing to sell it to you in exchange for a podcast appearance.
Yes.
Well, Daniella, thank you so much for your time. This has been a lot of fun. And
you guys are great. You guys are doing a great job. So
thank
you. Thank you. Yeah, we love having you on. Yeah, take care and have a wonderful day.
Yes, prepare for some big Red Wings news next week. Remember,
of course.
When you're on vacation. Well, enjoy your time off, Daniella.
Yeah.
Yes.
We officially hit 420 followers on Twitter. So
Blaze,
we did the
thank
weed
you.
number.
We did the weed number.
Congratulations.
Did you announce when we hit 69?
Did. It was pretty nice.
Nice.
Oh my God, Jimmy's trying to break down the door. So by the time this episode has gone live, the Red Kelly Puck winner has been announced. With that said, what other kind of giveaways would you guys like to see? Would you like to see us go, ball
Tom's
out
socks?
for something bigger? Do you want Tom's used socks, or do you want some cool wall art? Tweet us, email us at 313hockeypod@gmail.com. Send us your ideas. We'd be happy to try to accommodate. We might not have a big budget. That's all.
Hold on. Did someone ask for my socks?
No.
Not yet.
You fucking creep.
Listen,
I was just wondering, why the fuck would anyone want my socks?
What's the thing Daniela said? You're not going to get served until you order.
No, yeah, you got to order to get served.
Yeah. So anyway, in general, how to our listeners, how are we doing so far? Are there more things that you'd like to see? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to reply to us with anything. Let us know your ideas, even if they're bad, especially if they're bad. Maddie will be happy to filter all of the bad ideas out. Specifically, tweet at her at Detrusy for more info. We have a couple big things planned. We've been getting in touch with a lot of nonprofits lately, so you'll be hearing more information on that soon. With that said, we're going to be posting a feedback form in the next week. It's going to be open-ended. You can put as much or as little information as you want, and we are going to take all of your ideas into consideration, even the bad ones.
Can we geo block it so people from Australia cannot?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you're Australian, you're not allowed to say anything. I realize typing with an upside down keyboard makes it hard enough. Oh my
God. But number one hockey podcast in Australia. That's right. A lie. I made that up.
We were number one in Brazil.
I know. I made up the Australian one. Come to Brazil, 313 Hockey Pod.
313 Hockey Pod, come to Brazil. That is all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you again to Daniela for listening, especially if you made it past the dick jokes. Sorry we didn't save any for you, but
she can't laugh at that on air though, so you're welcome. We did get a laugh about the Coyotes. That was the best part of the episode.
So anyway, from our side of the rink to yours, thank you again for tuning in, and we can't wait to hear more from you next week.